Bill Haas wins at Congressional Country Club at the AT&T National, and Chris has been kind enough to join me for a couple minutes to talk a little bit about the golf equipment that Bill has in his bag. Let me tell you a little bit about it right off the top. I'll give you the quick list. Bill had a Titleist 913 D2 driver with 8.5 degrees of loss and an Aldila Tour Blue 75 TX, I should say, shaft in his bag. His fairway wood was a Titleist 913 FD with 15 degrees of loft and a Fujikura Fuel 85X shaft. His hybrid was a Titleist 913H with 17 degrees of loft and a UST Mamiya VTS 100X shaft. For irons, he's playing Titleist 712 CBs, that's 3-through pitching wedge, with True Temper Dynamic Gold X100 shafts. His wedges, the Titleist Vokey Design Spin Mill at 54 degrees bent to 53, and then an SM4, also a Titleist Vokey Design SM4 there. That is a 60-degree bent to 59, again, those with True Temper Dynamic Gold X100 shafts. His putter is a Scotty Cameron for Titleist Newport 2 Midslant, and Bill Haas uses a Titleist Pro V1X golf ball. So, got that stuff in there. Chris, if you could tell me a little bit about the driver, that 913 D2 that Bill has been playing with, and any kind of details or insights you might be able to give me a little bit. I understand that he's been playing around with some shafts, but you guys, through testing, sort of found obviously the driver that's most effective for him.
Right. At Bay Hill this year, we worked with Bill, and Bill had been testing some 913 models, but had not really been able to find the one he wanted. And Bill always has played a Speeder 757 Fujikura shaft, which worked for him really well in a lot of different other heads, but for this specific head, it didn't work quite as well. So we were trying to find the next combination that would work well for him. And what worked great for him was the Aldila Tour Blue 75 TX. I had actually walked out on the range at Bay Hill and brought about 3 or 4 shafts. It's the first shaft I put in, and we never even tried any other shafts. So he just hit it so well, drove it perfect. Actually had a really nice week there, had one bad round, but played really well all week and drove it great. And it's been in his bag ever since. This week in particular, it was really great to see and rewarding to see on my side whenever he did get a lead of 2 to sometimes 3 shots on Sunday. He wasn't playing safe. He pulled driver out. He was hitting at 300 to 330 yards right down the middle. I'm watching on play-by-play because they played early on PGAtour.com, and every one of those drives I'm watching on there, and he just drove it great all day, including the last hole. He had a 3-shot lead. He could have done whatever he wanted. He pulled driver and hit at 336 yards right down the middle, hit sand wedge into it. So that's very rewarding on my side.
Cool. Is it uncommon, or is it something you see quite a bit where guys fall in love sort of with particular components, and when you sort of upgrade or when they want to make changes, they want to carry over a shaft, or they want to carry over something else that they've had previous success with? Is that something you see quite a bit of?
It is, especially in woods. When you go from wood to wood, sometimes the CG can change in heads, and it might make a shaft play different. With irons, you're not really moving a lot of CG around, especially like with Bill. He's played CB and X100 in pretty much about every Titleist iron he's had. So that's always an easy one to do. But whenever we get ahead and we get a CG kind of changing in heads, we might need to make a change in shaft. And as I'm sure many of your viewers know, a Fujikura Speeder 757 has been around for 10 years at least, and Bill had always played it in his driver, and it just didn't seem to work out with the 913 head. But once we did find the proper shaft, the head worked great, and he's thrilled with the driver.
Cool. You mentioned the irons. Obviously, last week a Congressional Titleist started the seeding process for the 714 series of irons. That's the AP1, the AP2, the 714 CB, and 714 MB. Bill's been playing the CB versions, the 712s, for a while. Do you anticipate him probably moving into the new 714 CB? And what can you tell me about sort of how that seeding process went and how it may go for Bill in the future?
Well, I think Bill will make that change fairly quickly. We had sent his irons home to him kind of late in the week prior to going to AT&T, and Bill went and played in the CVS Classic on Monday and Tuesday. So he didn't have a whole lot of time to play with the irons. He also has a 1.5-month-old son at home, so I'm sure his practicing and warming up time at home is kind of limited right now. But the sole differentiation on the CB, this new generation CB with a little more camber and a little pre-wear on the leading edge, fits Bill perfectly. when we first introduced 712 versus his 710 CB, it was the same type of deal. He played a couple times with a 710 CB before switching to 712, but once he got the feel of the new irons, he went right away into them. And I don't suspect any issues there. Overall, the iron launch was very successful on our side. From an R&D perspective and a rep perspective, we saw exactly what we wanted to see out of the irons. The irons go through the turf much better. They have a better feel, and also the shape of the irons. Every player commented on how clean the shape was and how much they enjoyed the look of 714 versus 712. So we're very happy with the start and look forward to the next seeding process over the next few weeks.
That sounds great. Well, best of luck with all that. And once again, Chris, I really appreciate you coming on board with me today in the Winner's Circle. Thanks a lot.
You got it. Thank you, David.
All right, cool. And once again, this is David Dusek with Golfweek Magazine and Golfweek.com, and you've been inside the Winner's Circle.